Have you ever trusted someone deeply, only to feel completely shattered when that trust was broken? It can leave you questioning everything, your judgment, your worth, even your ability to feel safe around people again. Sometimes the pain is not just about what happened. It's about the quiet fear that follows. The fear that maybe you will never trust the same way again. And this leads to a difficult question many people carry silently. Can you trust again after being hurt? When trust breaks, the mind often goes into protection mode. You replay conversations, analyze every detail, and promise yourself you will never be that vulnerable again. But while protection may feel safe in the moment, it can slowly build walls that keep peace, connection, and growth out of your life. Today, we are going to explore something powerful. How emotional healing can help you trust again without becoming naive, cold, or closed off. Because healing is not about pretending nothing happened. It's about becoming wiser, stronger, and more peaceful within yourself. Have you ever caught yourself wondering why one painful experience can affect your trust for years? Let's talk about it. When someone you trusted deeply hurts you, the pain often goes beyond the event itself. It creates a quiet shock inside the mind, as if something stable suddenly shifted. Trust is closely connected to emotional safety. When that safety is broken, the mind naturally begins protecting itself. You may notice yourself becoming more cautious in conversations or holding back thoughts you once shared easily. Sometimes people withdraw emotionally, not because they want distance, but because they fear experiencing the same disappointment again. Have you ever noticed how one painful moment can change the way you see people for a long time? The important insight here is that protecting your heart does not mean shutting it down. Pain can become a teacher if you allow yourself to reflect on it calmly. Instead of assuming that trust itself was a mistake, begin to recognize what the experience revealed. Maybe it showed you where your boundaries needed strengthening or where expectations needed clarity. Emotional healing begins when you treat the experience as wisdom rather than weakness. With patience and reflection, you slowly replace fear with awareness. That awareness allows you to move forward with greater strength and balance. After trust has been broken, many people develop a quiet belief that trusting again will only lead to more pain. This belief can feel like protection, but over time it may turn into emotional isolation. The mind starts building invisible barriers, making it difficult to rely on others or even accept genuine kindness. You may begin questioning intentions or expecting disappointment before anything has actually happened. Have you ever caught yourself assuming the worst even when someone shows sincere effort? The deeper insight here is that trust itself is not the problem. The challenge usually comes from trusting without healthy boundaries or without observing patterns over time. Real trust grows gradually, not instantly. It is built through consistent behavior, honesty, and respect. Think of trust as something that develops through small repeated actions rather than quick promises. Guidance begins with allowing relationships and interactions to reveal themselves naturally. Instead of rushing emotional investment, observe how people respond during difficult moments and whether their actions match their words. This slower approach helps you remain open without becoming vulnerable to unnecessary harm. Over time, this balanced awareness restores confidence and emotional stability. Another hidden wound after betrayal is the loss of self-trust. Many people begin questioning their own judgment more than the person who hurt them. Thoughts like, "How didn't I see this coming?" or "Why did I trust in the first place?" can quietly damage confidence. The pain is no longer only about someone else's behavior. It becomes doubt about your own awareness. But the truth is that life rarely gives perfect signals. Human beings learn through experience, not certainty. Emotional healing begins when you shift the focus from blame to understanding. Instead of criticizing yourself for trusting, ask what the experience revealed about your needs, boundaries, and values. Every difficult moment carries information. Perhaps it showed you the importance of listening to your intuition, slowing down before giving trust, or communicating expectations more clearly. As you reflect honestly, self-trust slowly returns. You begin recognizing that growth is not the absence of mistakes but the ability to learn from them with patience and humility. When self-trust strengthens, trusting others becomes less frightening because you know you can respond wisely to whatever life brings. Another barrier to trusting again is the fear of vulnerability. After being hurt, openness can feel dangerous. The mind tries to protect itself by staying emotionally distant. Conversations become careful, personal thoughts remain unspoken, and connections stay on the surface. While this distance may feel safe, it can quietly create loneliness. True connection requires a level of honesty that allows people to see who you really are. Vulnerability is often misunderstood as weakness, but in reality it is a form of courage. It means allowing your authentic thoughts and feelings to exist without constant fear of rejection. The key insight is that vulnerability does not mean exposing everything to everyone. Healthy openness happens gradually and with awareness. You share more as trust grows, observing how people respond to your honesty and whether they respect your boundaries. This balanced approach protects your emotional well-being while still allowing meaningful connection to develop. Over time, vulnerability stops feeling like a risk and begins feeling like strength, because it allows relationships and interactions to grow in sincerity rather than fear. One of the most exhausting effects of broken trust is the habit of replaying the painful moment again and again. The mind searches for answers, trying to understand what went wrong or what signs were missed. At first, this reflection feels necessary, but when it continues endlessly, it slowly drains emotional energy. You may find yourself revisiting the same conversations, imagining different outcomes, or questioning every small detail. The truth is that the mind believes it is protecting you by analyzing the past, but constant replay rarely produces new clarity. Instead, it keeps the emotional wound active. The insight here is that reflection should guide learning, not imprison your thoughts. Emotional healing begins when you gently shift attention away from repeated analysis and toward present awareness. Breathing slowly, grounding your thoughts, or writing your reflections down can help release mental pressure. When you allow the mind to rest instead of forcing answers, peace gradually returns and the experience becomes a lesson rather than a permanent burden. Another challenge after being hurt is the tendency to assume that every new situation will lead to the same disappointment. The brain naturally tries to predict danger based on past experiences. While this instinct can sometimes protect us, it can also distort reality by making every interaction feel risky. You may notice yourself expecting betrayal even when there is no clear reason for it. This constant alertness creates emotional fatigue and prevents new experiences from being seen clearly. The deeper insight is that every person and every moment carries different possibilities. Past pain may inform your awareness, but it does not have to dictate every decision you make. Guidance begins with practicing balanced observation rather than automatic suspicion. Notice patterns, listen to your intuition, and keep your boundaries strong, but also allow room for people to show who they truly are. Another quiet burden many people carry after being hurt is self-blame. They replay the moment and begin questioning their own character or judgment. Thoughts like, "I should have known better," or "I was too trusting," slowly erode confidence. But trusting someone is not a flaw. It is a natural human instinct. The real issue is not that you trusted, but that someone failed to honor that trust. Emotional healing begins when you release the idea that trusting made you weak. Instead of criticizing your past decisions, recognize the courage it takes to open your heart in the first place. Forgiving yourself allows the mind to breathe again. It restores emotional balance and reduces the heavy weight of regret. When self-compassion replaces self-blame, something important changes within you. Your perspective shifts from shame to growth. You begin understanding that every difficult experience carries a lesson that strengthens your wisdom and awareness, helping you move forward with greater clarity and emotional strength. The final step in trusting again after being hurt is redefining what trust truly means. Many people assume trust requires blind belief or immediate openness, but healthy trust works very differently. Real trust develops gradually through consistent actions, honesty, and respect. It grows when someone repeatedly shows reliability over time. When you begin seeing trust as a process rather than a decision, the pressure disappears. You no longer feel forced to give complete emotional access immediately. Instead, you allow experiences to reveal character slowly. At the same time, you continue strengthening your own inner stability. The stronger your sense of self becomes, the less fragile trust feels. Emotional healing allows you to remain open without losing awareness. You learn to value patience, observe behavior carefully, and maintain clear boundaries that protect your peace. Over time, trust stops feeling like a dangerous risk and begins feeling like a thoughtful choice guided by wisdom, self-respect, and inner balance. So the question remains, can you trust again after being hurt? The answer is yes, but trust after pain looks different. It becomes wiser, slower, and guided by self-respect. Emotional healing allows you to open your heart without losing your boundaries. It allows you to move forward with awareness rather than fear. The past may shape you, but it does not have to define your future. And remember, rebuilding trust begins with patience. Patience with others, and patience with yourself. If this message resonated with you, share your thoughts below. How are you healing today? Your journey toward peace, clarity, and strength may inspire someone else who is walking the same path.